I think he knows that even if he sort of respects Trump or however he wants to word it, I think he knows when he puts that hat on, people are really going to have a feeling about it, and they're going to talk about him. And I think to a degree, he enjoys.
Probably
being
likes that.
Yeah, he enjoys being. Again, Kanye loves Kanye. We know that. You know what I mean? Like.
Today, we talk about...
He doesn't strike me as somebody who's like dying to be in front of the camera kind of person. You know what I mean? He kind of just seems he's like likes his lane and does, he's like the opposite of Kanye, I guess, kind of. Which is interesting.
Yeah, but even Kanye, I feel like he's gotten away from these public interviews. Although I know Charlamagne got that one dope interview with him, but
I think maybe he was I don't know if he got away out of it because he didn't want to. You know what I mean? It's because it just wasn't a good look for him anymore. You know what I mean? Like I don't, because I think Kanye likes talking about Kanye at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think he would ever shy away from it. I think it's just like he goes. I think he also probably feels people are beneath him to a degree. I think, and also. He says some crazy shit whenever he does it.
So here's the thing. Here's my thoughts on that. Okay. Like I listened to the full interviews because again, I have the attention span to do so. And as I'm listening, I'm like, I also have a fucked up brain. Yeah. Okay, because that's why I'm a comedian now.
Yeah.
And part of having fucked up thoughts is understanding a filter you need to put on your tongue before the words come out so that you don't sound like. Yeah. Whatever. Right. So I feel like he's maybe just missing a little part of that sometimes where like he says something. Yeah. I personally am able to look at what he said and be like, okay, clearly he used the absolute wrong word here, but I know what he's trying to say. Right. At least I think I do. Whereas I don't think a lot of people are even able to like discern the difference sometimes. And B, all these different media outlets, maybe you guys included too. I'm not saying specifically, I'm just saying you guys as part of this whole media thing that like puts out like either the radicalized clips of like, yo, check out what he said. You know what I mean? I feel like it suddenly loses all the original intent of the meaning of it, and then he gets screwed out of it, and then eventually he just wakes up. He has to eventually wake up someday and be like, yo, fuck all these guys. I'm going to stop doing interviews. No one understands me. And the people that maybe even do understand me are taking my words and like misconstruing them and then running with it to get clicks. Fuck y'all, you know what I mean?
No, I mean, I definitely could see him doing that. I think he probably isn't self-aware enough about how he's coming across, you know what I mean? And I think you're definitely right. Most people have that filter. And I personally have been able to, like, I can see what he's trying to say and discern it and not, like, look at it from a sensitive point of view and, like, really just try to hear what he's saying. But for the masses, for you to go on public platforms, you know,
do
and
better.
I respect a lot of the things he says, especially when he talks about like, wanting to invest in entrepreneurs and like, teaching college kids that when he goes there speaking about like, them empowering themselves and empowering the arts, right? Yeah. All that stuff is amazing. I just don't think he is the right brand ambassador for that, because he, I think, is so passionate about what he's saying. He gets overly emotional and caught up in the moment, and just his entire messaging gets lost. And then, yes, obviously the media is going to sensationalize it for clicks. And then he just basically looks like a crazy person, and you can't really believe kind of what he says at that point,
Yeah. I don't know that. I don't know what the disconnect is, and maybe he's doing it on purpose. I don't know.
Listen,
but
he might be the ultimate troll. You know? I've been a huge Kanye fan from the start, so it's an interesting kind of thing to kind of look at as a fan. And like sometimes you're like, okay, cool, I get it. Other times like I can't ride what you're saying, bro. But I don't know, man. He could strike me as somebody who could be doing a lot of things on purpose as well. Right. I've heard. I want to say when that whole TMZ thing came up, he kind of wasn't shying away from it and was like definitely putting on a little bit more of a show. Especially the second time around when he went up there.
I mean, it's TMZ, so I guess maybe that's...
Yeah. I think he knew what he was doing to a degree. I think he knows what he's doing when he puts on the MAGA hat. I think he knows that even if he sort of respects Trump or however he wants to word it, I think he knows when he puts that hat on, people are really going to have a feeling about it, and they're going to talk about him. And I think to a degree, he enjoys.
Probably likes that.
Yeah, he enjoys being. Again, Kanye loves Kanye. We know that. You know what I mean? Like, so I think he enjoys it.
Yeah, I honestly felt bad for him with that whole MAGA hat situation because, like, again, I knew exactly what he was trying to do. Yeah. He's like, "Are we really going to let this fucking hat with some simple font on it piss us off? Right. Nah, dude, let me put this shit on and let me try to rebrand this thing." Right. Like, that's what he was trying to do. Yeah. And he just went about it the wrong way with not even bad intentions. It's just like, that's just what happened. And, you can't, I'm sure he has to understand, like, yo, this is just, it is what it is. Like, this is the cost of doing business, I guess. You know, like,
I think he, regardless of what your political views are, I think what he wasn't understanding, by him sort of trying to take away the power of that hat, he is then reinforcing those who don't understand that that's what he's doing. You know what I mean? So like the Trump supporters are like, fuck yeah, Kanye's on board now, and they don't get that he's maybe trying to like, you know, take away the power of it, you know, and that's what he, I think, doesn't really understand. And if he does understand it, he just doesn't give a shit, you know. I don't know.
That was my guess. He's like, all right, fuck these guys.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably like, listen, I know what I believe, and that's all that matters. You know what I mean? But like, I think also I think when you're that big, are you able to really realize how much influence you have?
I'm sure that's got to be a factor. I'm sure, and also I just think like that's just who he is. Like he's going to wear polos when everyone wasn't. He's going to, you know, do Yeezus when everyone else was like, "What the fuck is this?" Shit? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Did you have any thoughts on Yeezus personally as a DJ / just a fan of music?
I mean, it's definitely not anything I could play in the club. I would say it's an album that I appreciate, but I don't want to listen to it from front to back.
Right.
You know, I'll be like, oh, I'm in kind of a mood for it, and I'll skip around songs, and I like certain songs. But I'm not like from front to back, this is a masterpiece. You know, as I felt that way about like Late Registration, you know, and all that stuff. Like I loved it from front to back. I could still go listen to it. College Dropout, still go listen to it, you know, front to back.
Right.
But Yeezus, it was like I think this is amazing how he's experimenting with sounds and just sonically as like a music head. I was like, this is crazy, and I appreciate it for that. But yeah, like I don't feel the need to kind of always bump it or anything.
Actually, do you feel like do you have like a personal favorite as far as music goes, as far as genres, and do you like find yourself gravitating more to things that you can play as a DJ, like, oh, I like the song, and part of the reason is because I know I can play it. Like, is that ever a factor? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I find myself listening to music for pleasure less and less, you know, as far as like looking for new music. Like I'm not out researching new music to just listen to for myself, you know. Whereas, you know, prior to DJing and become my job, it was like I was always just looking for something cool to listen to, you know. Right. So now, yeah, it's like if I'm looking for new music, it's like, can I play this in the club? Is it something that is topical right now that I have to know about this record because I work in radio?
Right.
But outside of that, like as far as like for leisure, I listen to a lot of the same stuff, you know. It's a lot of like, you know, records I've listened to for years, you know, and obviously occasionally there'll be like certain songs that'll pop up and I'm like, all right, this is a cool record to listen to, but I'm not as active in that. For me, if I'm finding new music, it's because I want something to play in the club, something I need to know for radio, for work, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, I get so jealous of musical acts, let alone like DJs who are, you know, successful only because I'm not. No. But as a comedian, it's tough because like you can travel with like nostalgic hits.
Yeah.
Like I can't travel with like old jokes. I mean, you can to some extent, especially if they're very good jokes.
Yeah.
Like you can tell over and over. Like I'll listen to the same Chappelle bits over and over and still laugh.
Yeah.
But it's just harder because there's like a shelf life basically for jokes as opposed to music. Like you guys were talking to Lesser, like, yo, people are still bumping, calling to this day as if it just came out. And that's like, oh man, how good does that have to feel to like have that in your back pocket? Like, yo.
Yeah, I mean, that's like part of the beauty of music is because you can hear something and it takes you back to that moment. You know what I mean? Like I can remember hearing Calling for the first time when I first started getting really into DJing and EDM, and just how gigantic it felt whenever I heard it somewhere. And it's the same thing with like whether it's classic hip hop or whatever it is. Like you can play records and it brings people back. You know what I mean? And it's probably something they're also not listening to in their car on a regular basis. So like that's the beauty of like that. But yeah. That's the beauty of music is that you have the ability to really take people on a journey, kind of, you know, without getting too corny about this whole thing. But
no, let's get corny, baby.
But I mean, that's like the beauty of it, you know. There's like there's emotion attached to it whether you realize it or not, you know.
Right. And that's regardless of the drugs.
Yeah. Regardless. I mean, but if the drugs are really good. Yeah.